His entire family and friends were brutally slaughtered. He faced only two choices: die meaninglessly or rise to become a legend. There was only one sanctuary that could save him, the Shaolin Temple. But mastering the kung fu needed for his revenge meant surviving 35 deadly training chambers, a journey that takes most monks decades to complete. He accomplished it in just 5 years. This is the story of Liu Yu-te, whose relentless determination forged the legend of the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. Let's begin the story. In Canton during the Qing dynasty, the Manchu government brutally oppresses the Han people. General Tin, the highest-ranking Manchu official, exploits his power through excessive taxation. Hero Yin attempts a solo assassination of General Tin, but walks into a trap. Outmatched in combat skills and poor planning lead to his swift defeat. Meanwhile, at Chongwen College, Master Ho secretly teaches students while coordinating with the resistance. Among his students are 3 young men who actively help smuggle intelligence. One of them, Liu Yu-te, witnesses the public execution of resistance fighters alongside his classmates. When Liu speaks out against the injustice, Tang Sanyao, General Tian's ruthless adjutant, arrests him on the spot. A quick-thinking witness vouches for Liu Yu-te, claiming he's merely a naive student unaware of political matters. Tang Sanyao reluctantly releases him. Shaken by the brutality they've witnessed, the 3 students return to Master Ho's residence, pledging their lives to the Han people's freedom. Master Ho tempers their enthusiasm with wisdom. Sacrifice without strategy is meaningless. They must await orders from their exiled leader, Lord Zhang, currently organizing forces in Taiwan. Lord Zhang plans to send crucial intelligence via an ingenious route, hidden within fish shipments to Liu's father, a seafood merchant who regularly receives international deliveries. Liu successfully retrieves the package by posing as a customer making a bulk purchase. At the Resistance headquarters, they discover the package contains detailed maps and plans for an attack scheduled for the following night. Unknown to the rebels, General Tian has learned of their plot. He orders his forces to eliminate all remaining resistance fighters. Several rebels are captured and killed. When the fish delivery boy is interrogated, he chooses suicide over betraying his comrade's location. Tong's men raid Liu's father's seafood shop, brutally interrogating Liu's father. When Liu arrives to help, his father's dying words urge him to flee. The next morning brings devastating news. All rebel homes have been razed to the ground. Liu's father and family are dead, along with most of his fellow students. Liu realizes that seeking immediate revenge would be suicide. He and his surviving classmate decide to journey to Shaolin Temple, the legendary monastery renowned for its martial arts mastery. Only through proper training can they hope to achieve meaningful vengeance. Disguised as beggars, the 2 young men make their escape. Their journey is short-lived when they encounter Tang's patrol. A desperate chase through the forest ensues. They attempt to steal horses from what appears to be an unguarded convoy, but soldiers quickly pursue them. Liu manages to escape on horseback, but his friend sacrifices himself to buy time. As Tang's men close in, Liu hides among rocky outcroppings until his pursuers pass. Injured, exhausted, and penniless, Liu reaches a roadside tea house. He can only beg for water. When he inquires about the distance to Shaolin, the sympathetic shopkeeper, seeing his dire condition, suggests he hide in the temple's vegetable delivery cart. Upon arrival at Shaolin, the vegetables suddenly spill from the cart's unusual weight. The monks discover the unconscious Liu and carry him inside for medical treatment. After recovery, Liu awakens and meets the abbot. His request to stay is initially denied. The abbot perceives the hatred and vengeance burning in his heart, emotions incompatible with Buddhist teachings. However, Liu refuses to leave. His persistence impresses one of the senior monks, who argues that such determination shows a genuine connection to Buddha's path. After deliberation, the abbot accepts Liu as a novice monk, giving him the religious name Sante. Sante spends an entire year performing menial tasks, sweeping, cleaning, and serving the monastery. Not once is he taught any martial arts. His frustration grows daily. Finally, he confronts the abbot about his purpose for coming to Shaolin. The abbot responds calmly. Shaolin has 35 chambers of martial arts training. Any monk may learn, but they must first ask and prove themselves worthy. More importantly, the abbot questions Sante's motivation. Does he seek kung fu to help others or merely to satisfy his revenge? Sante honestly admits both. He wants the oppressed people to defend themselves and combat their enemies. The abbot warns that such thoughts conflict with Buddhist principles, but allows Sante to begin training anyway, starting from Chamber 35, the most basic level. The first challenge seems simple. Cross floating wooden logs to reach the dining hall for meals. Sante immediately falls into the water, soaking his robes. Temple rules forbid wet students from entering the kitchen. By the time Sante dries his clothes, the other monks have consumed all the food. Desperate with hunger, he sneaks into the master's personal kitchen and is caught. The master gives him a bowl of porridge, but requires him to eat while standing on the wooden logs. Sante spills everything. As punishment, he must wash all the monastery's dishes. That night, Sante practices balancing on 2 wooden buckets, training his body to understand the principle of the floating logs. The next morning, he successfully crosses the pond with spectacular form. However, the master changes the test, scattering the logs randomly across the water. Sante falls in again. The master demonstrates by skipping a ceramic plate across the water's surface, explaining the principles. Strength, balance, speed. The harder you step, the faster wood sinks. Move quickly, distribute your weight evenly, and maintain mental focus. Sante practices every night while others sleep. Eventually, he masters the technique and advances to Chamber 34. This chamber focuses on building powerful arms, essential for every weapon and technique. The training is deceptively simple. Carry water buckets up a steep slope with arms extended straight out. Pour the water down to keep it flowing. Repeat endlessly. Sante struggles initially, but gradually builds incredible arm strength. He even begins helping other struggling students, though a master scolds him. Each monk must overcome their challenges alone, or the training is worthless.
Chamber 33, Wrist Power.
Sante had to strike the gong using a 12-foot-long bamboo pole with a 10 caddy, about 13-pound weight attached to the end. He had to strike it in time with his teacher's wooden mallet. Within minutes, Sante's wrists were incredibly sore, but he persisted. After 2 days of relentless practice, he was striking the gong with incredible speed and precision, perfectly matching his teacher's beats. Sante's dedication earns rewards. The abbot appoints him guardian of the scripture room, a position of trust and honor. He continues advancing through increasingly difficult chambers. Eye training chamber, following a moving flame with only his eyes, head perfectly still, sharpening visual tracking. Reflection chamber, striking light reflections on wooden posts, developing lightning-fast reflexes.
这叫做
Head chamber, repeatedly striking sandbags with his forehead, burning incense to Buddha after each set, hardening his skull like iron. Sante achieves what the abbot calls a new record in Shaolin history, completing the foundational training in all basic chambers in just 25 months. He's permitted to advance to specialized combat training, fist techniques, leg power, swordsmanship, and staff fighting. Over the next several years, Sante masters every chamber with equal dedication. After 5 years total, he has completed training in all 35 chambers, an unprecedented achievement. The abbot announces Sante will be appointed deputy abbot of any chamber he chooses, an enormous honor. However, one of the senior instructors objects. He challenges Sante to a duel. If Sante can defeat him with any weapon, he'll accept the appointment. Sante chooses a staff for their first bout. The senior instructors wielding a sword easily dominates the fight. Sante concedes defeat. That night, Sante practices with various weapons, analyzing his senior instructor's fighting style. He realizes traditional weapons can't overcome the master's skill. By accident, Sante breaks a bamboo pole that whips back at him. This inspires a revolutionary idea, a weapon with flexible joints that can strike from unexpected angles. He creates the 3-section staff, 3 wooden sections connected by short chains. When Sante demonstrates this weapon the next day, even the Shaolin masters are astounded. They've never seen such a design. In the rematch, the senior instructor struggles against the unpredictable attacks. The 3-section staff bends around his defenses, striking from impossible angles. The senior instructor graciously admits defeat. Sante is officially confirmed as instructor, qualified to lead any of the 35 chambers. Instead of choosing a chamber to lead, Sante proposes something unprecedented, creating a 36th chamber specifically to teach Shaolin Kung Fu to ordinary civilians, not just monks. The proposal shocks the assembly. For 1,000 years, Shaolin has never taught outsiders. The martial arts are sacred, reserved for those who dedicate their lives to Buddhism. Sante argues passionately. Shaolin's knowledge could save countless lives. The oppressed people need these skills to defend themselves. Keeping such power hidden serves no one. The abbot firmly refuses. When Sante continues arguing, he's accused of violating temple rules and sentenced to leave Shaolin to collect donations. He cannot return until his donation book is completely filled. Sante uses this exile as an opportunity. Sante returns to Canton and immediately visits his father's grave, guided by a beggar who witnessed the massacre. At the cemetery, he encounters Hong Shi-guan, a Han resistance fighter, being ambushed by Tong San Yao and his soldiers. Tong has continued hunting down rebels for 7 years. As Hong faces defeat, Sante intervenes. He reveals his identity to Tong, who recognizes him as the student who escaped years ago, the son of the seafood merchant. The battle is fierce. Sante's Shaolin training proves overwhelming. During the fight, Hong Shi-guan manages to kill several of Tong San Yao's men. When Tong is finally defenseless, Hong delivers the killing blow, avenging all the comrades who died at his hands. Sante declares his intention to Hong. He will recruit promising young fighters and teach them Shaolin Kung Fu to overthrow General Tian Ta's regime. Sante encounters Tong Jianchen, a blacksmith, being forced by Manchu soldiers to produce cartwheels on an impossible deadline. When Tong refuses, the soldiers attack him. Sante observes that Tong has natural fighting instinct but poor technique. He holds his heavy hammer incorrectly, slowing his movements. Sante calls out advice mid-fight. Tong adjusts his grip and suddenly gains the advantage, driving the soldiers away. Amazed, Tong immediately begs Sante to accept him as a student. His friend, Liu Yu-te, mocks this display, doubting a monk could teach real kung fu. Sante demonstrates on Liu Yu-te, quickly convincing him otherwise. News of Tong San Yao's death reaches General Tian Ta, who flies into a rage. He orders Commander Cheng to capture everyone involved and execute them publicly. Meanwhile, Sante and his growing group of students plan their assault on General Tian Ta's headquarters. They need a base of operations close to the general's mansion. They approach Chong Mi Liu, a rice miller, whose shop backs directly onto the general's residence. Chong initially refuses, assuming Sante is begging for donations. When Sante explains they share the same enemy and the same oppression, Chong reluctantly agrees to help. Commander Chang prepares to execute more captured resistance fighters in a public display. Sante appears suddenly, challenging the proceedings. A massive battle erupts. Sante faces overwhelming numbers but refuses to back down. His Shaolin training allows him to fight multiple opponents simultaneously. In the chaos, Commander Cheng is accidentally killed by his own men's spears. Gathering at Chong's house, Sante devises a clever strategy. They spread flour across the street leading to General Tian Ta's mansion. When the general and his cavalry pass through, Sante's group triggers the trap. Flour explodes into the air, blinding soldiers and horses. In the confusion, Sante steals General Tian Ta's horse, drawing him into single combat. With the tyrants eliminated, Sante returns to Shaolin, not with a book of donations, but with a group of dedicated students and proof that ordinary people can use Kung Fu for justice. The abbot finally approves Sante's vision. the 36th Chamber is established, a revolutionary training ground where Shaolin teaches civilians, not just monks. Sante becomes its first master, training generations of fighters who will defend the Han people against oppression. The film teaches that through patience, discipline, and righteous knowledge, one can transform personal suffering into the strength to help others and uphold justice. Sante's journey from vengeful student to enlightened master shows that true power lies not in violence, but in using one's abilities to elevate and protect the innocent. And that's the epic tale of the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. If you enjoyed this breakdown of a classic kung fu masterpiece, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next video. We've got plenty more legendary martial arts films to explore, from Shaw Brothers classics to hidden gems you might have never heard of. Drop a comment below and let me know which kung fu film you want to see next. Like this video if you enjoyed the story and share it with your friends who love classic action cinema. I'll see you in the next one. Keep fighting.